Okay, let's talk about niches. And this is conversation is super important. Today we're going to talk about niches that pay well, and it's not about listen. My new series on my YouTube channel and on all of my channels, profitable niches for therapy, is not about like, oh, if you're not in these niches, you're not going to make money. This is series rather to help therapists, wonderful therapists who are really, really great at what they do, help them to find their lane of genius if they haven't already, or at least have a conversation. Can we have a lane of genius? It's about a lane of genius. And today we're going to talk about one of the lane of genius, and that is identity based niche. So it's important. What I'm going to cover, first of all, like what is niching? So because like this is part number two, like what is a niche in therapy? So, and how to understand niches, because business coaches, when it comes to service providers, like it's a little bit different for therapists, and like I want to point that out first. So then we're going to talk about niche therapy in terms of identity-based niche therapy. I'm going to explain what I mean by that, and that niche can be extremely easy to use, extremely comfortable, and there's a niche within the niche. Like, hello, Jamal. Thank you so much for joining. Hi. Like, oh, listen, I always appreciate your support. Like, really, I really, really do. Thank you so much. So, well, let's jump into it, right? So, when it comes to identity niches, it's really simple, and also it's very complicated. Why? Because one, you have to be very specific. A therapist for Black people, a therapist for gay men, a therapist for women over 40, a therapist for a very specific group of people. My example, and I niche down by accident. So way back when I just graduated, I was in Moscow, Russia. I was working as a clinical psychologist. And my niche, like, well, when I went to school, I knew nothing about business. I wanted to help a deaf community. I was a part of deaf community, like big time. And I just knew that there are no other psychologists, there are no other therapists who can provide professional mental health care to deaf people using sign language, understanding the complexity of deaf culture, and also understanding like sometimes core abilities, for example, deafness and ADHD, deafness and autism, deafness and mental health disorders. And because there's so many misconceptions, so I picked that niche like automatically, and I picked that niche in school. And what was really beneficial for me, I had no social media presence. I think I'm still getting better at creating content. Like, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a content creator. I mean, like, when it comes to my business specifically, I can help others to really see the patterns and really do a beautiful work. But when it comes to myself, no. So I was a part of the community. And because I was like, in a community that needed my support, that had fewer therapists, or in my case, actually none, who could provide psychotherapy in sign language. When I graduated, like I immediately had clients and corporate opportunities. So, and listen, on Tuesday, I'm dropping a podcast niching down based on diagnosis. So in my case, it was kind of like twofold. I didn't niche down based on mental health diagnosis. It's not like psychologists for OCD, psychologists for neurodivergent individual, psychologists who works with children with autism. Nothing like that, but rather deafness and mental health illness. And that really hits the spot because deaf culture, it is a culture. It's not just a disability. It is a culture with their own language, with their own cultural pride, and extremely extremely not supported. So why I'm saying this, right? So maybe you are a therapist in a community, or maybe you grew up in a particular community that you see a big need. So, like if you know my story, like I work with a lot of Black and Latino entrepreneurs, I follow a lot of Black therapists. There's a big need there, and I like what clinical psychologist Raquel Markel said. I hope I didn't butcher her name. Listen, this is what I don't like about lives. So, but Dr. Markel and Dr. Raquel said that the world, right? Like we can't just in mental health industry, we can't just rely on Black therapists to supply the demand for therapists who specialize in helping Black community because again, we don't have enough educators, we don't have enough resources simply to do that. So other therapists, white therapists, therapists from other cultures, like they got to pick up the slack. And like she does educational resources, she does continuous education, she explains how to do that. So, and that is one, right? One therapist that I absolutely like, and I will actually pay out of pocket to that therapist, is a therapist who specializes on gay men specifically. And I will pay out of pocket to that person because, again, as I said in my previous live streams, he just gets me, and like his content is so precise that I simply like when it comes to like therapist, mental health professional, like boom, this is it. This is why it is so essential. And how it actually benefits you as a private practice therapist. Well, it's like first of all, it's really picking up your genius, right? Understanding who you can serve better. And sometimes like it actually starts with your desire, with your desire for like a particular community to serve them better, to help them better. So like that's one criteria, or maybe a community that you grew up. So like that's one. Two is marketing. When it comes to marketing, it's extremely simple. Like you like listen, when you focus on one group, it's like you don't have to make anything up. You just like you see the issues every day. And sometimes you don't even have to market on social media that much. You just go to local communities and you market it there. Again, a little bit like not a therapist, but a therapist can absolutely use this idea that one of my clients is doing. So he goes to conferences and he is a Black software engineer and he is very passionate about helping kids from under underrepresented backgrounds to get in tech. And he does a lot of education. He does a lot of boot camps. He does a lot of speaking engagements for free. Like, I mean, when we started working together, it was for free. So now it's a little different. He goes there and he lands clients, or um, people variety like there's variety. You can absolutely do that for your therapy clients, for your therapy business. 100%. 100%. And even for psychology today, so instead of say, hey, like this is who I am. This is these modalities that I'm working with, right? Talk about the people, and when you talk about the person, when you talk about the people so precisely, so on point that like nobody else can talk like that. And they when they read your information, when they read your website, you are naming the problem how they name it. It's just easy. It's just easier. And like this is what I say, messaging, right? For therapists, speak to your people like they would speak to themselves. Use the terminology that they would use. Describe their experiences in the human language, how they would describe. I mean, it's obvious things, right? But as therapists, we like it is I think a lot of therapists really desire to be professional, and make sure that it's scientific and also so people get it. So there's this like push pull, but your people actually, if you're not serving other therapists, which is another niche that we're going to talk about, in a different video. If you're not serving therapists, they don't understand the diagnoses. If you serve me as a person who understands mental health, who is in this mental health industry, who is a hypnotherapist or who worked in the past as a clinical psychologist, who came from and works like time to time in healthcare and supporting mental health organizations. So like I understand what you're talking about, and like if I'm your client, yeah, 100%. But if I'm not your client, even if I am your client, you can talk to me in a very non-pathologizing way, in, in a way that it will just resonate with me. Just the clinical diagnoses, just the terminology alone, I mean, it will kind of tickle me intellectually. Like I will enjoy that reading, but it will not be like, oh yeah, like I can totally hear what you're talking about. I can totally understand what you're talking about. And the best therapist marketers who are in like kind of do what I do, like do business consulting coaching with other therapists. uh, I have two therapists that I absolutely am like I'm a fan. I'm absolutely a fan, and what I like about them is just they talk about, again, they talk about the problem that I'm experiencing in my private practice as a hypnotherapist. That's like that is spot on. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Also, I wanted to really quickly tell you what I'm doing, what I'm up to. So, I open a few spots for therapists. I open 3 spots. This is what my capacity allows me to, well, at this moment. I'm working on other projects, but for therapists, I open 3 spots in what I want to do. Like my invitation to you, if you want to grow your private practice, increase your pay, increase get better at messaging, like talking to your people in a way that they understand. Also, increase your visibility as a therapist, diversify your income. This is what I help other consultants do, and it's absolutely available for therapists. And my approach is very non-traditional for business coach. I start with actually the unplugging the energy of self, because again, when it comes to growing your business, you have to be self I believe you have to be self-led to build self led business. It starts with self-leadership. We're going to address the parts that are blocking your clarity, your creativity, your calmness, your connectedness with others. And it's not IFS therapy. and it's not IFS therapy, and it's business consulting, and it's business coaching, right? And we will go through this process from the business consulting standpoint, from the business development standpoint. And I'm using evidence-based model that is fairly flexible and can be used in coaching. IFS can be used in coaching quite effectively. So when we block that energy of self, and I often combine it with hypnotherapy for self regulation, for insights, for creative downloads. Like that is really helpful. So I don't just prescribe what I think would be best for your business, but you actually get it from the source, and the source is yourself. The source, if your pure consciousness, the energy of self, then we start talking about the marketing, we start talking about the messaging, we start talking about the business model, whether or not you want to work with insurance, whether or not you want to add other revenues than like one-on-one therapy, whether or not you are building you are building solo practice, and or if you just want to stay self-employed, or you're a business owner, you're growing from just self-employed therapist to a business owner, and you think about like what is next. Is it group practice? Is it different types of services, and how much you want to spend on the chair? Like all of those questions that therapists ask themselves, it starts with the energy of self first. Because here's the deal: entrepreneurship is the biggest personal development journey you can ever have, and it will uncover your money story, right? We're gonna talk like, and this is the blockages, right? We're gonna talk on the story that like if you charge more than you are unethical, that you are harming somebody. Like this is absolutely not correct. That you cannot be wealthy therapist. You cannot build profitable, wealthy practice. That focusing on money is wrong. That you have to be affordable in order to be accessible. And access is not always tied to money. For a lot of communities, yes, money is a barrier to access. But a lot of the time, for me, for example, money is not the barrier to access therapy, but rather the lack of therapists who can provide the care and support that I want and that I need. So we're gonna work with that. And this is for like also very accessible. Founder rate is $3,000 for 6 months. And I'm absolutely transparent. Like, so you don't have to have on the sales call to just figure out that it is like $3,000. Like, I respect you enough that if you just need time to actually pull ends together and see if it is the right fit, think of it if it is the right fit, so you have that opportunity. So the way you can enroll, so the way you can enroll um, is through sending me DM. So send me a DM, say that you're interested. I'm talking to three people, by the way. I'm taking only three people because I do have my consulting project that I'm running right now, and I am building my private practice as a hypnotherapist for gay men. Yep. So I said it out loud, and it's a separate marketing effort. Like I can barely market one business and run consulting. Running two, like that's a little bit too much. So I'm taking three private practice therapists, new or not new or more experienced, it doesn't matter. And if you're thinking about starting a private practice and like, you know what, like I don't know where to start, So like that will be a good jump start for you. And especially like if you are not panel yet, right? And you think about, well, like it's kind of scary. We're gonna look into that. And it's like and it is 6 months, it is 101 working with me in a small group, and it's 3K. So and also I created on the page, I do have access to Klarna. So listen, if you need to like make it a payment plan, Klarna can hook you up if you are approved by Klarna, so you can pay through Klarna. But I wanted to make it a founder rate for therapists. Why? Because it's kind of new audience. My previous clients, they're consultants, they're experts, they're Black and Latino entrepreneurs, and they're all running expert-based businesses, either in tech, either in beauty consulting, and product consulting, business consulting. And I really wanted to niche down and focus on therapists because it is personal, because I love mental health and I worked as a clinical psychologist. I ran my private practice without social media. And now, through lessons that I got from my business consultants, my coaches, the business lessons that I learned from big tech, in 10 years that I was in tech, how they move differently when it comes to business, and their ethical ways to actually move ethically in this space. So I want to bring it to therapists. I really, really, really want to bring it to therapists. So, oh, I think I just, oh, okay. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay. Hold on. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk. That's what I wanted to talk about today. Like if it's something that you are interested in, yeah, let me know. Like send me a DM. Send me a DM. So, who would be a good fit private practice therapist or a therapist who are thinking about growing private practice? And again, this is very holistic approach. This is not just like business coaching, like, hey, like how to just make content or how to make this. This is very personalized, and it comes from the energy of self, because I can teach you how to make content. I can teach you how to market. I can teach you timeless principles of business. If you're not in the energy of self, it will not be conducive. And this is why a lot of business coaching programs fail miserably. So, and like your success, it comes from your energy of self. All right. So Tuesday, um, tune in to my podcast on Tuesday, because I'm talking about niche diagnosis, and that's going to be really interesting. It's a little bit more profitable niche than just identity niche, and like there are levels. So tune in on Tuesday. We're going to talk about, and it's on my podcast. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's not live. But we're gonna talk about that. We're absolutely gonna talk about niching down as um, a clinician or a mental health therapist who work with specific diagnoses. So it's going to be super interesting. Then on Thursday, we're going to talk about, like, that will be part two of our series. On Thursday, next Thursday, we're going to talk about uh, niching down on as a couples therapist, as a relationship based therapist. So I don't want to say couples therapist because it is so primitive. Like when it comes to relationship and therapy, relationship therapist, like that's like that. You know, it's a little bit more than that, and it's very lucrative, by the way. It's very, very lucrative, and there's so many sub niches. It's even like if you combine identity niche and couples therapy and relationship niche, is this is something that you're really passionate about, you will be on that money. Listen, and I'm not talking out of my butt. I do not have proctolalia. Okay, this is diagnosis came up with. I do not have proctolalia. I did my research. I look at the financial analysis of different therapy niches for private practice, for um, therapists who are employed by agencies, organizations, and like what came up. Like so, identity-based niches, absolutely. It's most comprehensive for marketing and can be profitable. And it's like you mostly in those niches, you mostly winning with quantity of clients. Again, like my case, like it's quantity. I back in the day, listen, I charged very affordable. So, but it was quantity because it was so in demand. I was literally when you are the only psychologist in town that can treat a certain condition, you can be in business. Personally, you're gonna be in business, and like other organizations wants to hire you, but relationship based psychotherapy, it's gonna be so juicy. Like I'm really excited to talk to you about relationship-based therapy because there's so much more. And on after that, we're gonna like I will be doing episode on the on the YouTube about and YouTube and podcast also about forensic psychology. So I know it's not going to be applicable to everybody. So if you're a psychologist, if you're a forensic psychologist, or if you are in psychology, or if you're a PsyD or PhD, like that's probably going to be an episode that you want to tune in. So I'm going to talk about that. But hey, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. All right.